I'd like to welcome you to the assembly this morning. Last year, when the study was done by the PTA, and some of the students here worked on it, and a number of people in the community worked on it, that it was realized that, in fact, there is a problem in Burgeo and a number of other communities around the island with alcohol abuse and drug abuse, and the PTA made it one of a project that we would work on and try and bring about a little better environment in Burgeo. And in connection with that, very pleased this morning to have Roy Payne with us. It was a good turnout last night, a number of parents along. And I just might mention that I heard Roy Payne some years ago, 12, 15 years ago, I suppose, and many people here in this room have too. And I heard the message, I liked the music that he played, and songs and so on. But last night I heard a little different message, and the only thing that I asked of you this morning is that you be a good audience and listen to the message that he has to bring to you. I'm not going to introduce him as such. He does a very good job with that himself. Mr. Roy Payne.
Morning to you. Well, we're not doing too bad today. We got a couple of nice looking ones up front. Four good looking ones there, a couple of old dogs right there. We're 1, 2, 3, 4 nice looking girls there. How'd you guys get in there? Always seem to get the ugly ones up front. But seeing it's a very bright morning and I had a good night's sleep and the Edmonton Oilers beat Detroit, I can see a long way. As I look back, I can see a few old dogs in the rear, too. Okay, now we're going to become serious. I spend a lot of my time talking to young people because I want to, not because anybody tells me to. I've been at it 5 years. I'm like you now. I start school in September and I get out in June. I talk about a subject that's possibly very touchy with young people, so I handle it almost in your way. You may not know it now, but you will before it's over. I'm your friend. Don't put no pressures on you. Don't lay no heavy trips on you. I don't tell you not to do booze, not to do drugs. It's entirely up to you. I'm a firm believer that today's young people are probably smarter than any generation ever before us. You're different, believe me, but there's nothing wrong with being different. As you look at me, the way I dress, you'll probably think that I'm different too. Believe me, I am. And if you think it's hard for you as young people to be different in this world, think how hard it is for me to be different in this world, and I'm the age of the people that kind of give you a hard time. Really. I get some weird looks, but then I don't mind because I do look weird. See, I have a firm policy within me that's been there a long time, that I never judge a person by what they wear. color of their skin, or any other prejudice factor known to our society. You're like that because you're untouched yet by the system. Young people are not prejudiced. But you are being led around sometimes by the wrong people, just like I was. 48 years old and looking back to 14, you know, it's very short distance. When you're looking ahead from 14, it's a long distance. I was 14 years old when I got into my first taste of beer. Remember in Cormac at my grandmother's house, we had a cellar. There was no such a thing in them days as basements. I don't think cement was invented back in the 50s. In that cellar, my grandmother kept jams. She kept all kinds of preserves, weird things, homemade wine, a few bottles of beer when company came, and spiders used to live there too. So I made my way in there one day without any difficulty at all, never banged my head once. While I was in there, I found a few bottles of beer, got a 4-inch nail and dug the top off. We never had those squeeze the tops then. You worked for your bottle of beer. I drank, I think, 3 or 4, no more. Very strange tasting beer. Most horrible beer I ever drank in my life after 25 years of drinking. It was called Jockey Club. Very few things happened to me. I became what's known as very giddy. Maybe it was dizzy. I remember in there giggling in the dark all by myself. Then I remember wanting to get out and look at the world. This time, though, I had a little difficulty getting out of the old cellar. I cracked my skull a few times and said a few words that young people shouldn't say, but that was all right. My grandmother was deaf anyhow. And I got out of there, and then the next thing I remember is standing up trying to walk from point A to point B. I ended up walking from point A to point D, E, F, G, H, I, J. In fact, I wasn't going anywhere. I just went to the left when I wanted to go to the right. And every step forward, I landed on my face. I had my first encounter with being drunk. Next thing I remember is being on the ground, holding on to the grass to keep from falling into the sky. Then I entered a new phase, a violent type of phase. There's an old law out, I guess it's in physics, I don't know who invented it, Newton, somebody by that name, I guess. He lives just down the road. It's a thing called whatever goes up must come down. I want to tell you something about drinking. Once you drink so much, then you drink a little more, that law is reversed. What goes down must come up. And up it came. It really came up, believe me. It's amazing, too, what can come up with 4 pints of beer. A lot of things come up with 4 pints of beer. In fact, it took me 2 days to dig the carrots out of my nose. I threw up all over the ground, I threw up all over me, and I threw up all over my dear old grandmother. She didn't know what was happening to me at all. Now, that was my first encounter. Had I had anything on the ball, I would have quit right there. But I didn't. I dabbled in booze every weekend until I was 17 years old. And then, like every young Newfoundlander, it seems we want to get away from Newfoundland. find out many, many years later that it was indeed a mistake. I joined the Canadian Armed Forces. Now I make a statement, I got the Canadian Armed Forces mad at me, but I don't mind. People are mad at me, at least my name's in the news. When I make a statement, I mean it, and they cannot prove me wrong. If they can, I'll shut up. That if a young man were to join the Canadian Armed Forces at the age of 17, by the time he's 25, he is well on his way if he's not already an alcoholic. By the time he is 29, he is a total alcoholic. The Armed Forces is geared that way. You train hard, and you play hard. Canteens are available all over the place, and you're almost encouraged to drink together, to be a part of each other. People that don't use alcohol are almost looked down upon by their friends. Therefore, peer pressure come in. 12 years saw me saying goodbye to the Army, but it hurt me much more. I enjoyed the Army, but there was something that really stabbed at me. You see, I was married and had 2 boys and a girl. Alcoholism had destroyed that marriage, and the judge gave custody of my children to her. She went one way with my kids, and I went the other way with nothing. And all those years after, I was to sit down, hurt, think about, how could they do this to me? And only 7 years ago, when I quit drinking, did I realize, my God, what did I do to them? I deprived them of a parent. I deprived them of their right to grow up with a parent. I deprived them of being there when they needed me. And as unfair as I thought it was to me, it was 10 times fold to them. And it's not a day goes by that I don't feel sorry. But I can't undo yesterday. All I can do is work towards tomorrow with them. And I'm glad to say, because their mother is a fine person, we have that relationship. Toronto. Sometime, somewhere, somehow, every Newfoundlander will end up in the city of Toronto. Why? I don't know. We go there in like great flocks of migrating birds. We go there in search of the dream. We go there in search of the great tomorrow. We said, tell you something about Toronto. I'll refer to Toronto a lot, but it's like any other city across this nation in the United States. A big city is nothing but a big, gigantic industry, geared to do nothing but make money. Those who make money rise to the top of the high rises. Those who don't fall to the gutters. Its people are its waste. The sewage of the city runs under it. The waste of the human bodies and mind lay along the streets and the gutters, strung out on wine and various other substances. And believe me, for every person, that makes it a lot more fall. So if your dreams of the city are with you, you go. But you go with a straight mind and a straight head. Because if you don't, it'll eat you up, chew you out, spit you out, just like it's done 1,000 people. Toronto is the name I call every city. Maybe because I don't like the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I make no bones about it. I drove in there in an old Volkswagen that every time I went over 45 miles an hour, the fenders flapped like an old wounded seagull. $30 to $40 in my pocket and no friends. I'd been to that city before, but I had old Army buddies with me then. Now I stood by myself, and you've never felt more alone in your life when you stand on a place called Yonge Street or Queen Street or Bay Street or any other street. A total stranger in 1,000 faces. You can't reach out and touch anybody, because if you do, you're either molesting or stealing from them. You can't say hello. Nobody says hello in the city. You'll never feel like that anywhere else. You are a stranger in the crowd. But I got lucky. Unlike a lot of Newfoundlanders that go up there, I got lucky. In many ways. I walked into a tavern called the Horseshoe Tavern on Queen Street in Spadina one day with a guitar, got up and sang a few songs. That's all she wrote. 1 year later, I had the #1 selling album in Canada. That same year, I had the #1 selling single. Both of them made gold records. I signed a recording contract with RCA Victor Records. It was the best ever given a Canadian at the time. I've recorded 15 albums with RCA Victor. 3 of them were gold. I've written over 5,000 songs. I have 2,000 published. I wrote all the music for Dan Aykroyd's movie called Love at First Sight, produced and arranged and sang all the songs on it. I wrote all the music for Barbara Crum and Michael McGee's 1-hour show in Toronto called True North, over 20 shows. And I'm the only Canadian artist to ever do a 1 1/2 hour television show in the women's penitentiary in Kingston. 250 women, all nice looking, some not so. All by themselves and no men. And old Roy. Always believing there was a God, I thought this was it for me. And I remember on the 3rd day of filming, clutching at the warden's leg and saying, "Sir, allow me to live the rest of my life in here with those poor unfortunate wretches. I want to live my life here no matter how short it is." What a way to go. But it didn't work that way, and they kicked me out. That was the first jail I've ever been kicked out of in my life. Looking back now, a very short time ago, I could look down at my fingers and see anywhere from $30,000 to $45,000 with diamond rings. All mine. Part of the plastic pedestal. I put my hand in my pocket. If I wanted $3,000, it was usually in this hip pocket. If I wanted any more, I snapped my finger. The guy ran and got it for me. Because if he didn't, he was out of a job. I drove Chrysler in New Yorkers instead of the big Cadillacs that the Nashville stars drive, because I don't like Cadillacs. If I wanted a car, I'd phone in the morning, it would be ready in the afternoon. That's the way it was. I was making big money. If I wanted to go on the road, I went on the road. Then it became big business. Then we had managers, guys who keep you on the road forever because you see the more you work, the more money they make. And we have agents. The more money you make, the more they make. And we have producers telling you what to record. And you don't want to record it because as a writer you have the right to tell the truth in your songs. And I was always one for that. Pressure. The thoughts of my children. Arguing with band members. 250 days plus on the road. You know, the road is not just, old Willie wrote a song, On the Road Again. Willie's got it under control. Willie's a very smart, intelligent, rare human being. Willie goes on the road, he takes his whole family with him. The band takes their family. They enjoy the road. When we went on the road, it was play from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, then boogie all night long till the sun went up. There came up. Sleep all day, get up at noon, talk to DJs, go up and play pool all day and sing all night. Now you spend 60 to 80 day tour. When you get back, there's not much left to you. It was wine, women, and song. We did crazy things. We made music. We had no thought of tomorrow. Tomorrow was not even in our gigs. We lived fast. Our theory was to die young and leave a good-looking corpse. In many cases it did. You know, I could be back home in Newfoundland right now and with enough money possibly buy half this island, saw her in two and towed my half down around the Caribbean island somewhere. But it wasn't to work out that way because as much as booze was destroying me, and it was only a period of time, I ran into a new demon. Something that I knew was there all the time, but I didn't want anything to do about it. See, I'll tell you something about old drunks. Old drunks don't like drugs, because they firmly believe that all drugs are bad, all drugs will kill you, but it's all right to drink. You can drink yourself to death, but don't dare touch that marijuana stuff, it'll kill you. That is the logic that we live under. 35 to 40-year-old drunk will do nothing but drink. So marijuana was nothing to do with me. I'd seen it, didn't want none of it. Hank B's Nashville, room 3 o'clock in the morning, which is a real scuzzball place. That's where drunks, fuzzheads hung out because they had nowhere else to go, or they were too drunk to want to go anywhere else. I arrived there looking for a bottle of whiskey. Bootleg whiskey, that's booze somebody buys for $3 or $4 in the afternoon and sells it to fools like me at 3 in the morning for $25, knowing that we'll buy it. I made the circle through 2 or 3 times and couldn't find none. You'd see some drunks had been there before I did and bought it all up. But a strange thing was happening. I was drunk enough just to catch it. About 600 people was jumping around having a great old party to a band that was on the stage, which was the worst band I ever heard in my life. Those people should have had their instruments taken away from them and broken, and they should have had their fingers removed, sent away to be analyzed. Because they were not fingers of music, believe me. But everybody was having a great time to them. They were jumping around, man, they thought that could have been the Beatles up there. Some old boys were really grooving. In between each song, they go, yay! And I said, what the hell are they yaying about? Over against the wall, leaning against the wall, was an old crony, an old fellow I'd met a dozen times. Now, this old boy didn't drink. He was 23 years old, 24 years old, never drank. All he ever done was smoke flowers. He started off smoking one joint like we all did, and he never advanced into heavy drugs. He didn't get messed up in heavy drugs, he didn't have to. At the age of 24, there was nothing left of him anyhow. He was consuming probably 50 joints a day, 60 joints a day, 75 joints a day. And if you talked to him, it was like talking to a blank wall. He lived in outer space at all times. Only his feet kept contact with the ground. His mind was somewhere out there in limbo. You walk up to him, I said, how you doing? Want to talk? I said, no, boy, I don't smoke that stuff. Want to talk? I said, no, boy, I don't smoke that stuff. Want to talk? I said, okay, boy, I'll have a talk. You see, I allowed somebody, God forgive me for this, but the intelligence due to marijuana of a 2-year-old to make for me the biggest decision I ever made in my life. Booze was destroying me, but now I'd really started something. So he sat down and he rolled a big old joint. In them days, we didn't fool around. When we rolled a joint, we rolled a joint. It was about that long. And it was about the size of my thumb. It was brown with little blue and pink stars on it. And he lit it up. When he lit it up, there was sparks flying all over the place. As the seeds exploded. It looked like a 4th of July party. Just because this is honesty, and we're all talking honest between you and I, possibly that's why it all works so good. I'll give you a demonstration how it went. Now, possibly a few of you old boys are smoking dope. You're probably just doing it the wrong way anyhow, but there is a set way to smoke dope, and there's a ritual to smoking marijuana. This is the authentic Yorkville way, patented by the hippies of Yorkville. You take it and you stick it in your face. You don't care if you look cool or not, because you're not putting on a commercial for cigarettes. You take a great big drag and it goes something like this. Then you hold your breath. Your knees get weak. Your hair curls up. Your head goes. Your lungs are about to explode like mine is now because you got no oxygen in them. Then you go, wow, man. You take the place back. Really don't feel nothing, but you really got to get that wow, man. Back and forth we go, back and forth we go, back and forth, till we get down to what some possibly intelligent human being put the name on it, call it a roach. I don't know why. That is a little piece of nothing that ends up at the end of the joint after you've smoked it all. Of course, by now, you get right into it. This is the special parts of the ritual. You get down to the roach. Later on, we used to carry roach clips. So by the time we got to the roach, we forgot about the clips. We didn't even know we had them. So you get down and you go, and you know something? You're not doing a thing. All you're doing is burning your fingers. All you're doing is burning your tongue and your lips, because now you're so stoned that you could put a blowtorch in your mouth and not even feel it. And you want to know something? Being honest, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was the greatest feeling I ever had in my life. And I jumped out there like the rest of them 600 fools, and I jumped around at a great time to the best band I ever heard in my life. Right then I should have realized, but I didn't, because it made me feel so good. I should have realized something that took me a long while to figure out. That marijuana was a lie. Marijuana is deceiving. Marijuana is an illusion. And unfortunately, later out I found out marijuana is a deadly killer. Now there'll be a few out there look at me and say, go on. But I want to tell you something. Do you really know what you're doing? Could either one of you right now out there roll your sleeve up, take a rubber band, tie around your arm, twist it off, pump your arm up until you see your veins. You notice mine don't come up too good. It's because they're all collapsed, man. Take a syringe that long, with a needle that long, pull up a narcotic and stick it in your arm till you found your vein, missing it, doing it again until you find your vein, then pull back on the plunger until you see your own blood mixed with the narcotic. Then push it in, take the thing off and wait for your head to explode. Could you? I see one guy out there with a big grin on his face. If I were you people, I wouldn't run with him. They're all looking around. The one that I'm looking at is doing the most looking. No, you can't do it. It's inhuman. It's impossible. You run from such things like that because it's sick. And I had no intention when I smoked my first joint of marijuana ever doing it. 9 chances out of 10 the same thing with you. When you drink your first bottle of beer, you got no intentions of becoming an alcoholic. When you smoke your first joint, you have no intentions of becoming a drug addict. But think about it for 1 second. You be honest with you, I'm honest with you. Don't you know some people that are young and they're alcoholics, they're messed up on booze? What makes you think you can escape it? What makes you any smarter than the thousands upon thousands of young people across the United States and Canada right today that are dying because of drugs and alcohol abuse? What makes you think you're going to beat it, man? You think you're going to get away with just drinking a few beers? You think you're going to get away with smoking a few joints? Well, I'll tell you, you're sadly mistaken. Because I'll tell you something about your body you may not know. You can build the most sophisticated piece of machinery in the world, and we have them. You can build computers that think like a human being, and we have them. But we cannot build the human body. And the human body is way far superior than any machine on the face of this earth. And when you put such substance as marijuana, or any drug, beer, or any drug, or tobacco into your system, the first time you take one beer, you'll get drunk. The first time you take one joint, you'll get stoned. The first time you'll take one cigarette, you'll feel the same sensation. Your body fights it, it builds up an immunity against it. Pretty soon you're taking 6 beer, then a dozen, then 24. Same with marijuana, man. Then you move on the line. And of course, if somebody were up here that didn't know what they were talking about, you'd say, what do you know about it anyhow? Well, I'll tell you the drugs I did. Marijuana of all shades and all colors. I don't care where it came from, I bought it. I used it. At any time, if I had any less than 5 pounds of marijuana in my house, I got nervous. Hashish of all kind, I don't care where it came from or what it cost, I bought it. Hashish oil, uppers and downers, crystal speed, PCP, LSD, call it acid if you want, angel dust, morphine, cocaine, heroin, good old magic mushrooms. Want to know? When I took that first joint, it didn't cost me nothing because old Grasshead gave it to me. 7 years ago when I was forced to quit drugs because I had no life left, no career left, no nothing left, and 6 months to live, I was doing $500 to $1,000 a day on top drugs. Want to know what drugs do? And then you'll get those out there that after I leave will say, don't listen to that old fool. He's just trying to turn you away, man. Dope's good for you. It makes you forget all your problems. Makes you forget your old man's giving you a hard time. Makes you forget teachers on your case. Makes you forget all the other pressures of the world, and boys, you got a lot of them. I agree with you. I'm on your side on that. You have far too many pressures, and you shouldn't have them. But that's the way our society is geared today. You're not going to escape them by drinking. You're not going to escape them by using drugs. Think for a second. Don't you know some people had tried already to escape by booze, possibly 3 years ago? Look at them now. Don't you know somebody that you wish weren't on booze? Be honest with yourself. I find young people today, given a chance, they're very honest. There's a few amongst you that will try and pull the others away. There's only 3 spots that'll lead you. I don't care if it's booze, I don't care if it's drugs, and I don't care how amount or what you do. It's only 3 spots. Somewhere along the line, it's a total burnout. A total burnout. A man, you get just as burned out on pot as you do on heroin. Total burnout on the streets with the rest of them out there hanging out, doing nothing, because you're incapable of doing. Booze, same thing. Begging money on the street to buy a bottle of cheap wine. And don't think it just hits the poor people. I know doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs all across this country, United States, that are burnt out, living on the streets. People at one time were very, very smart. Pot does the same thing. Then you may escape the streets. You may stay there. You may get lucky and end up in some insane asylum. Drugs do that to you, in case you don't know it. Booze does that to you. And you may escape that, and you may end up in prison. Now, I've never been insane, I've been crazy. I've had a good look at it. I didn't like what I saw. Prison, you're going to go to prison because if you want drugs, you got to buy it. If you got no money, you steal. If you don't steal, you sell. It's the way it is. You're incapable of working. A lot of young people today use marijuana in between their breaks in the schools and come in and try to learn. How can you learn when you can't think? Your head's off somewhere in the outer space and you're sitting there. You can't do it, man. No more than I could do it. No more than all my friends could do it. Prison. Want to go to prison? I think not. You see, I have been there. Don't ever get the idea that prisons are run by guards and wardens. Prisons are run by prisoners. And we get some in every class that are going to go there, my friend, because they're smart. And I feel sad for them, because they're all smart in the wrong way. They don't listen to nobody and nothing. I feel very sad for them. Because when you go through that prison door, you go into no man's land. And they're waiting for you guys in there. They like to see you come through the door with your long hair and your young face. When you walk through that door, there are people in there bordering on the lines of animals. When you walk in, you look like Marilyn Monroe to them. They want you, they'll get you. And all your screams make no difference. You ever hear a young man scream at 3 o'clock in the morning while he's being repeatedly raped by 5 or 6 animals? Well, that's what prison will offer you. So it's your choice. You go. And as you're going through that door, you remember that day in school that you heard me tell you. But there's one more alternative that drugs and alcohol will put you. Death. Man, that's all over. That's it. You know? You can't just lie down and die for a couple of days and get up and say, well, I'm tired of this, let's get on with it. Didn't want to smoke, you know, I'm tired, I won't drink again. Oh man. I've never been dead, I came close. I OD'd a few times. One time I OD'd, I was 4 days. But they fought for my life. I've never been dead, but a lot of my friends are. A lot of my real good friends, man, are dead because of drugs and alcohol. And I've seen a lot of dead men. And you want to know something strange? They died young. They died foolishly. And no matter how nice the box they laid them out in, no matter how nice the suit they dressed them up in, and no matter how much the paint and powder they put on them and how nice they combed their hair, not one of them got up and said, Roy, man, this is cool. Not one of them looked like they liked it. And all they end up is in some little hillside cemetery with a little piece of horrible concrete sticking out that says, born so-and-so, died so-and-so. The ages of 15, 16 now, and even younger. Mass suicide has almost reached that point. Drug-induced mind manipulation is a thing that we're all aware of around the world. We may not be in Newfoundland. Ever hear of the Reverend Jimmy Jones? Well, Jimmy Jones was a self-proclaimed Messiah, Jesus Christ. And he took 1,000 people with him to the jungles of Guyana to open up the new land. Old Jimmy, though, was messed up on drugs. Old Jimmy was crazy. So he sat down one day and bid everyone in his audience, just like you are sitting there now. And I said, come forward. And they all came forward and dipped out a little glass of poison mixed with Kool-Aid and died at old Jimmy's feet. 913. Men, women, children. Mass suicide by drugs. I can take any one of you out there right now, each and every one. All of you, in fact, including your teachers. Take the right amount of drugs, keep you on that drug for 2 weeks, you'll do anything I tell you. The young girls will go on the streets and prostitute themselves and bring me the money, and you boys will go out and steal. Bring me the money, and if I asked you to kill, you'll kill. Because the drug demand is so great, you'll do anything about it. And anything to get it. But then you don't have to go to the extremes. Across the United States, Canada, this is a 1984 figure. God only knows how out of proportion it is now. They say of young people that use drugs and use alcohol, 80% think of suicide. 40% actually try it. That's sad that a young person like you would want to die. Because I'll tell you something, your good old friend marijuana, that your good old friend out there on the street, or your good old friend in this classroom that says, here, it's cool, man, come on, have it. Because he tells you, you take it. Because he is telling you a lie. He's not your friend. He never was. He never will be. And you run from him as fast as you can. Because anybody who wants to destroy you is not a friend. If somebody come up to you with a gun and was to shoot you, he is not your friend. Well, this guy that tries to sell you dope has got a gun. The gun is dope. Good old marijuana. It can either turn on you or make you laugh. You see, there's no in between with marijuana. You laugh for a while, then after a while the depression sets in, and you go from top to rock bottom. When you get to rock bottom, that's when the whole world caves in around you. That's when you really can't cope, man. That's when young people are doing themselves in. The reasons why you get into it, I get many, many letters from young people, because I leave my address for young people to write me. And they open up to me and tell me things they could never tell anybody else, because they tell it, I know, and they believe me, it's confidential. You see, young people can't talk today because you're branded, and that's sad. You're branded because of your ways, you're branded because of the ways you dress, and you're branded all cold because you're very smart. You're smart as many generations. You're even smarter in many ways than your parents. May not be wiser, but you're smarter. There's a reason for that. You've seen it all, especially in Newfoundland. When I grew up, man, it was an old radio with a battery hooked to it. All you'd ever hear on the radio was, Northern Rangers now at Burgeo. We got the weather report, and you turned it off. You turn it on after that, you get your neck broke. But you have a television in your home, you see the whole world in front of you. You know the conditions of this world. You know there are people that are starving by the thousands upon thousands a day, small little babies, and that's pressure on young people. You have pressure at home trying to communicate with your family that look at you like you're somebody from another planet. Don't be mad at them. They just don't understand that you have moved forward into the fast-moving lane. You are up here with the kids of the other big cities while they're still back here with the little outports of Newfoundland. You've got to look back to them, not what disgust. Just remember that they're set in their ways. And who's to say that their ways are wrong? All I know is that you can't live in a house without talking. You can't hold a problem inside. A good friend of mine, John Payne, wrote a song one time, one line in it says, everybody needs somebody to do a little talking to. That's a fact. If you don't have somebody to talk to, you hold it in. If it gets too much for you, you go out there. Old buddy out there that sells the drugs, 9 chances out of 10 was a dropout from last year because he couldn't learn while he was using drugs, is telling you that it's good for you. And not only that, you're buying it, you're giving him money to kill you. You have pressures in the schools to get higher grades to come #1. Well, I want to tell you something, and education is great. But we can't all be #1, so accept what you are, because you are yourself. You're not like the friend sitting next to you. You're not like your brother. You are yourself, only you. So be yourself. Don't allow anybody to change you. Don't allow anybody to drag you down amongst their mud pile. You have pressures from your friends, your peers. You can't go to a party on a Friday night. If you don't drink, you're looked at as if you're, oh yeah, Miss Goody Two-Shoes. And so you're pressured to take a first drink, you're pressured to take a joint. If you don't, you feel in a place. Well, learn how to handle those pressures. Reverse the pressure. Learn how to stick a mirror in front of you. A magic mirror, man, and let that pressure reflect right back into them. I do it. You think I don't got pressure? I'm an old drunk, man. I'm an old drug addict that knows every bartender between here and Vancouver and here in Texas. I know every pusher that's out there. If I want to buy dope tomorrow, I know where to go and buy any amount I want. You think I don't have pressures? When I'm on the road talking to young people, I stay in motels. Just because I don't drink, I don't run from bars. I'm not afraid of bars or anything out there. And I had nothing against the people in there drinking. I don't look down my nose at them. I just feel sad when I see a man stagger day after day after day and fall down, because I know where he's going. But I don't run from bars. I walk in there. When I got finished there last night, I went back and sat down and talked to 3 gentlemen for about an hour, just to unwind. I had no intentions of going in. I just went over to get a couple of Coca-Cola. Found out they don't sell Coca-Cola here, you sell Pepsi. I was forced to drink that horrible stuff. But that's flexibility. So they happened to mention, say something to me, recognized. I said hello. What started out to be a 2-minute conversation that lasted a whole hour. Last night they didn't pressurize me. But many places where I go, they put the pressure on me. Man, as soon as those old boys see me coming, they know it's old Roy. There used to be a time then that I would walk 20 miles to get a bottle of whiskey. I don't know if I ever became famous, but I'm quite infamous from one end of this country to the other. I had the greatest parties that any Newfoundlander ever had. Because I had the money. When bartenders see me coming, they're the ones. They read the paper now, I'm off drugs and booze and helping young people. You know, that's something. They want to be the first one to spread the rumor. Payne's drinking. Yeah. I gave a talk a little while back. It kind of caught me unaware. I was in Corner Brook. I was training over at the martial arts school, Taekwondo. And they're all dressed up in my fighting gear going right at it. And the gentleman came over all dressed up in a suit and he said, Roy, we need you quick. There was a Teachers Administration Council meeting at the Glenville Inn. My brother-in-law was with me from Toronto. He drinks a bit. That's a fair ball. So they rushed. I got all dressed, got out of my gear, put on my jeans, looking like something that's none of yous out there look as weird. Because I'm making a point to dress different. So here I go to the Glenville Inn to give this talk to 250 of the most educated people on the island. And I'm sitting down at the bar with my brother-in-law. He's drinking beer and I'm drinking Coca-Cola. And a lady comes by that's a bartender there, or a waitress, whatever she be, God love her heart. She sees me at the bar. She made one mad dash to the place where they were talking. She went up to a friend of mine, Winston Carter. She said, my God, you know that Roy Payne's out front and he's drinking? You see how quick they want to see me drunk? We see, I have a little game I play with them. When I walk into a bar, I walk up, and I know this guy knows what I'm going to ask for. He wishes I'm going to ask for. I walk up and I say, how you getting on, buddy? Give me a double. I pause for about 5 seconds. As he claws for the whiskey and the rum, I say, a Coca-Cola, if you don't mind, partner. It shoots him down. His knees kind of wobble a little bit. And I go and sit down with a couple old friends I've known. I know a lot of people. And this is how it goes. You wouldn't believe it. God love us Newfoundlanders. One of them said, Roy, I heard you quit drinking. Boy, I said, yes. Come on, let me buy you a drink. I said, boy, I don't drink. You just told me I don't drink. Ah, oh, come on. No, boy, I don't drink. Come on. I said, listen, buddy, come over here under the light. Let me have a look in your ear to see if there's a wax buildup. Because I don't seem to be getting through to you. You know? They put pressure on me. You've got to learn to take that pressure. I might say something like, boy, booze costs a lot now, don't it? It'll cost you $100 a night. That will cost me $1. It's Pepsi or Coke. You don't like that. Then I might say, boy, I'm going to feel some good tomorrow morning, get up and go for a 3-mile jog, come back and have practice. You'll have some hangover tomorrow morning, would you buy? They really don't like that. Then they'll laugh. The louder they laugh, I laugh twice as loud because I ain't about to be outdone by no drunk. Pretty soon they'll end up leaving my table and take off. They have left me alone because I've shifted the pressure back onto them. With a smile on my face all the time. No anger. You've got to learn to do that. When you're pressured, you've got to learn to You may not know it when you say no. If you do, you may be saving your best friend's life. Because she just might say, well, your friendship is more important than booze and drugs. Dig where I'm coming from? You know how beautiful it is to save somebody's life? There is nothing like it. But then you'll say, well, marijuana won't hurt you. I know a girl 16 years old, smoked one joint in her whole life. Very beautiful young girl, had a lot to live for. Going places in this world. One joint. She smoked that joint, she sat back, and she said, my God, I feel so good, I feel that I can fly. I know exactly how she felt. Before anybody understood what she was talking about, because everybody was stoned, she walked across the living room floor out on the 12th floor balcony, stepped out, dead at the age of 16. Big city. But then that don't happen in little old Newfoundland. No, sure. Think now, be honest with yourself. Don't you know somebody? Don't you know somebody that drugs done his number on? Total burnout. Prison. Yeah. That's it. Drugs are dangerous. The deeper in, the more dangerous it gets. Talk about drugs. What are you buying today? There's not a drug on the street today is what we call safe. They were never any good, but now they're dirty. They're dirty drugs because they're mixed with something else. You see, drugs is big money. Big, big money. And in order to make money, people got to do things to drugs. That means they have to cut it. That means they have to alter its original form. I buy drugs for X amount of dollars I'm going to sell to you, man. I'm going to make money. You're not going to pay me the price that I want. You can get off the same guy I bought it off, so I got to make a little change in it. Mix a good pound of pot with a couple of pounds of bad pot. You make a few bucks that way. That's how it's done. And you're buying it. By the time the average pound of marijuana comes from the big dealers that hits the streets of Newfoundland, it's been cut a minimum of 5 times. I can take good old cooking sage that mother got it all, spray it with various aerosol cans and get you stoned. You know that? But I'll kill you. Well, what do I care, man? I'm the pusher. I'm the guy that sells the drugs. I don't love you. I just love your money. And that's what the jerk is in this town is to you. He don't want you. He just wants your money. He's not a hero. He's nothing. 9 chances out of 10, he's a coward. He can't even fight without 2 big bullies beside him. Don't be afraid of him. Only be afraid if you take his drug, then be afraid. Because then he's got you. Dirty drugs. I really like this one. The RCMP did a bust a while back, a year ago or so, of hashish. And because when they do a bust, they send it away to Ottawa to ensure the ingredients that's in it for later on possibly court. The report came back. Now get ready for this one. All you old tokers out there, get ready for this one. The report came back 60% hashish, 40% horse manure. So why pay some turkey in this town the money that you do to buy horse manure? There's got to be a few old mules in this town walking around, ain't it? We're not that far advanced. So instead of paying for it, why not follow this old mule around with a basket and wait for nature to take its course? And in case you're so caught up in the modern world that you're all in fancy cars and motorcycles, nature takes its course with an old mule. The signs are, when the tail goes up, the basket goes in. Now you don't have to pay nobody for the garbage you're buying. They'll do anything to drugs. Kids at 12 and 13 years old are even getting stoned by taking the caps off of gasoline tanks on cars, sticking their nose down there and sniffing it. That's facts. I'm glad you shook your head, brother. That means maybe you'll never get messed up in. But there will be a few. It always scares me because I was down the coast a while back at the other end of the big old country of ours, or our province of ours. I like to call it a country. That's what's really getting the mainland going. It'd have me up for starting a revolution. Me and Rennie Levesque would be sent off to Cuba somewhere. Down around St. John's area, just outside, and there's a nice school there, a new modern school. I talked to over 700 students that day. Fine young people like you. They never really knew to understood just where drugs was, because they had nobody explain it to them. And as I left there, I always have you notice, I always look around. I always like looking at faces. So I want to remember faces. As I walked down that hallway, it was a long hallway and nothing on the walls. Completely new, completely white. But on that one wall, there was a picture about that wide, about that high, of a young man. Good-looking young man, curly hair, possibly 16. He looked like he was the honor student. Maybe the best athlete of the year, you know, one of the guy that really was special. I sat and watched him for a long while, and the principal come by, and I said, "Sir," knowing deep well inside of me, "Sir, what's his claim to fame?" He said, "Last year at graduation, he got drunk and killed in a car accident. He spent all those years studying to die on one stupid night." It's as quick as that. You might be sober as a judge one night, walking home from a babysitting job. All you've done all night is study. Along comes a local hero in the fastest car. "I'll give you a ride." "No." "I'll give you a ride." "No." "Come on." "Okay." You know he's drinking. You know he's drunk. You know he's impaired. You know that he's going to kill himself. But you get in. 2 miles down the road, they're both dead. It's too late then. Way too late. If you think that this world is messed up now, and it is, and the adults of this world today are at fault, not you. Our ways, our greed, and a lot to do with alcohol has put us where we are. If you think this world is messed up today, my friends, what's it going to be like 15 years from now if you're messed up on alcohol and drugs? How are you going to run her then? Because you are going to run her. We can't run her on being drunk. How are you going to run her stove? I asked you to do something. Man, if you ever asked me for a favor, I'd do it. I asked you for one. Just because there may be skeptics in the crowd. We always get them. Boy, I like those big words I find with my grade 7. Not easy. There was a time all I could say big was Mississippi and marmalade. Now I've got skeptics. I've got a clue what it means, but I say it anyhow. Because I heard John F. Kennedy say it one time on TV and it sounded good. Or was it Nixon? My fellow Americans. The next time you're good and stoned, okay, so you smoke some pot and drink a little booze. I want you to prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Next time you really got a good one going for you, go up to your room all by yourself, take a piece of paper, write yourself a letter, "Dear me." Sure. Because you may end up being your best friend. "Dear me." Write about 150 words, maybe 2 if you got good stuff in you to write. Sign it, seal it, and put it in an envelope and slap it away. Stay straight for 7 days, man. Right. 7 days. 7 days. Go back up to your room on the 7th day and write another letter. You've been straight now for 7 days. Seal it and put it away. Stay straight for 7 more days. 14 days, you know all that is? That's nothing in your young life. Then on the 14th day, go up to your room, all by yourself, straight as a whip after 2 weeks. Sit down, turn off all your music, not a sound in the world but just you, your conscience, and yourself. And listen to yourself. Read those 2 letters and become totally 100% honest with yourself. I mean 100% honest, because I'll tell you something about honesty. If you cannot be honest with yourself, you will never be honest with any other human being you come in contact with in this life. I can lie to you all day long until you catch me. Nobody knows I'm a liar. Only me. So you lie to yourself, and it don't work. But if you're honest with yourself, when you read those 2 letters, and you consider that you're a better writer when you're stoned and drunk than you are when you're straight, you fill your boots, partner. But you know something? As many as 1,000 young people I talked to, nobody ever snickered on that, because you know it can't be done. You can't go out and come in here after a toke and learn this afternoon. It can't be done. You can't do nothing at all stoned, nothing at all drunk, as you can when you're straight. It's a proven fact, yet we take it for granted. You see a man walk into a club 2 o'clock in the afternoon, nice pair of pants on, nice shirt, his hair slicked back, cool dude. Walking as straight as a whip. Ever watch him walk back out at midnight? Come on now. Guy's all over the place. After the time he comes out and he runs into his car before he gets in the car and runs into a tree. He can't work properly, neither can you work on stone. You see, when you're on drugs of any sort, you live in a little room in the back of your head. When you're drunk, you have great plans. When you're drunk, you're too drunk to do them because your body can't function. When you're stoned, you have great plans. You're too stoned because you don't move anymore. You just sit and live in that little room in the back of your head. Now, if you got goals in life, you want to be something, you got to go after it straight and you'll achieve it. If you got no goals, you don't want to be nothing. If you just want to be a zero the rest of your life, go home, find a closet nobody's using, get inside of it, nail it shut, cut a little hole in there so somebody can pass you some grub every now and then, and stay stoned till the rest of your life. What's last long? Well, 2 years you lit you out and you'll be looking like you wouldn't believe. Like that old grass head that I got the first joint out. You'll be going around, man, you want no day from night. Believe me, I've been there. I've seen friends of mine drop dead in front of me, just like that. You see, I told you at the beginning, I was a bad parent. I'm a good one now. You better believe it. That is one of my proudest achievements in this world. It's not my gold albums. It's not my ability to write songs. My proudest achievement, next to talking to young people, is that I am a good parent to my oldest son, who's 15, who's 16. He just turned 16. And my young fellow, who's 5. Want to know something? Drugs still got to give me a slap across the face every now and then. I'll tell you a story, because I won't allow this to go untold, because he meant a lot to me. My oldest son, Zach, his real father was a guitar player with Waylon Jennings. He came from Arizona. He was married to my wife. When they broke up, I've known her for 18 years. I've known him for the same amount of time. We're both good friends. Just because I married his ex-wife, that didn't stop. His only son, Zach, because he couldn't have him or he didn't have the time to have him, he wanted me to raise him because he knew he was safe with me. Me and Zach were pretty close, very close. I have had no fear about him on drugs and booze because he hates it. You saw it all. You saw his father, you saw me all. You know what it's like to sit at home on a Wednesday night? 2 weeks ago, telephone rings, Albuquerque, New Mexico calling. Somebody tell me that Jerry, Zach's father, just died of a heart attack at the age of 49, brought on by too much usage of cocaine. You know what it feels like to walk across that floor over to the bedroom of a young boy that you love dearly? Walk over and wake him up and say, your dad just died. All because of drugs. All because of the fast lane. You know something? He was a pretty good old boy. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do. But we worked it out. Because since he's been 7, I've been his father. And I got another little fellow too. He's about that high right now. That's the one that taught me how to be a father, because that's the only one I ever had in this life that was sober, when I was sober. I love him dearly. He's never called me Dad once in his life. It was always Roy. How you doing, Roy? Not too bad. Boy, how you getting on? Not too bad, he says. Tells me he loves me at least 100 times a day. Every time I turn around the corner. Roy! I don't look his way. Roy Payne. Yes, boy. Loves you. Loves you too, kid. That's the word we use in our family a lot. We don't use the other word that has the same amount of letters. When Katie was born, I remember it was in Nova Scotia. I saw him being born. The most beautiful thing I ever saw in my life. I guess that's why I loved him so much. When he was born, because I have this thing for computers, I'm afraid of computers. You have them all you want, but I don't want them. It bothers me to know that a computer in Ottawa knows more about me than I know about myself. And I can't do nothing about it. So I like to throw a monkey wrench into the computer when I get the chance. So when my little fellow was born, I called him Caleb, Christian, Clarkson, Richard, Norman, Absalom, Payne. That don't blow a fuse in Ottawa, nothing more. He's 5 years old. I haven't even got a birth certificate for him yet. That's the way I like it. Old Cavy's quite a character. You know what I have? I like to do for me. There was last time, you big macho guys out there. Look around now. You're not macho. You big old macho guys out there with arms on you like pulpwood. When was the last time you walked up to your old man and said, hey, old man, I love you? Come on, now be honest with yourselves. Why not? Why not? My oldest boy, Zach, tells me every day, hey, look, I love you. He's into martial arts with me. Not bad, but I let him think sometimes he's better than he really is. Actually, he's pretty good. I tell him every day I love him, he tells me. In fact, the night that they came and got me to go do this talking to Glenn Boleyn, that's who I was fighting over at the dojo. He's fancy with his kicks, very good. I kept ducking his kicks, and he was really starting to make me look like I was old. So I just done a little bit of a jab that we're taught. I got him right in the solar plexus. He said, what do you do that for? I said, because I love you. I said, I love you too, but you didn't have to do that. All right, kid, don't worry about it. It'll go away in a second. So what I want you to do now, do me a favor, Dick. You haven't got the guts to do it. You big macho guys. I'm challenging you. Now, come on, man. We're all, so we ain't got the guts to go home today. Walk in the house. Walk over to your old man, no matter how ugly he is. I don't care if he looks as mean as a junkyard dog. You haven't got the guts to go over today when you go home, slap your arms around his neck, give him a great big kiss on the cheek and say, old man, I love you. Come on, I dare you to. Come on, now we're young people today daring each other to do. I dare you to go do it. If I had the time, I'd go kiss him for you. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with saying I love you, man, to somebody? You prefer saying I hate your guts? Is that where it's at? Is that where our world is going? That's where we got our world. It's up to you to switch it around. Otherwise, it's going to change. There's some people loving some people. I'll tell you something about your parents. They love you. They're confused about you because you dress a little different, your hair is long. They're living what we call in yesterday, you're living in the future. They are living in yesterday, believe me. We're holding on to tradition. But don't brand them for it. Don't knock them down because they get a haircut every 2 weeks, they go to church every Sunday, they listen to Harry Hibbs records. You look pretty strange to them over there, my friend. We're 16-year-old boys out there wearing boots with zippers up the side that you're like that, you lean them forward the rest of your life. Be smart, man. You don't need those high heels. You're going to find out what the women found out. You're going to have varicose veins by the time you're 40 years old. Tight jeans, nothing wrong with that. T-shirt, my God, I'm with you every day, gang. You got me messed up. It's AC/DC, KISS, CD, I don't know. But I don't care what you wear. It kind of shakes up your old man, you know. He's still living yesterday. Don't move on him too fast. Don't pull the stick out, you know. You could come tumbling down. You put on a leather jacket, even in office, you're going around saying, boy, we're hot. Well, take your leather jacket off. You know? And then there's a few of you going around with those big dog collars around your wrist. With the big spikes sticking out. I seen one coming in there. And you go home, you don't need a fork now to eat. Just slap your wrist down on the plate. It'll all stick to it. Man, if you want to wear that, wear it. I wore them too. But you're blowing your old man's mind. Because I am my father's son, I am, remember? Generation after generation coming down. You just move a little too quick on them. Nothing wrong with you. Don't get me wrong, man. There ain't nothing wrong with you at all. You're just moving too fast for them. You haven't had a haircut since you were 12. It's down to there. But then I don't see nothing wrong with that either. I don't get my haircut. If you turn your head, he looks. He sees an earring in your left ear. That's it. He don't, that's it. Lightning's going to strike you dead right on the spot. He don't want to touch you because he knows you're going to be struck from above. For God's sake, gang, don't ever go on this punk rock deal and spike your hair and color it pink and purple. Because that will really sink Newfoundland right to the bottom. And to really top it all off, this is what drives your father completely insane. This is when he knows that you are gone. You are gone. Have you ever heard the way? What's wrong with the kids today? Nothing wrong with it. You walk through the house with a 250-pound made in Taiwan ghetto blaster with the strangest music ever heard in Newfoundland. Turned up so loud that it's popping the nails on the outside of the tank. Now, gang, you got one confused parent. You really have. Now, put yourself in his situation. Think now, you've got him totally running around in circles. Man, he loves you, but he really don't want to touch you. And when company comes, he'll give you $40 to go to the movies. No, there's no movie house in town. You don't want you around, and there's nothing wrong with him. And there's nothing wrong with him. It's just that you're not talking. But if you don't talk at home, you got pressures. You'll bring them to school, your pressures will grow heavier. You got pressures. Old buddy on the street will talk to you. You sell your drugs, you'll end up just a statistic down the road. Not bad for grade 7 getting that one out. I could go on for hours and tell you all the crazy things I've seen. Some of them were funny, some of them were not so funny, some of them were awful. But I think you get the point. It's sad. If you think that you need to take a booze of some sort or a drug of some sort to enjoy life, you're sadly mistaken. The greatest high on the face of this earth is being straight, love, and helping somebody. Now don't go away, now stay put. Guitar. What's your name, bud? Yeah. Corina. Weird name for a boy. Any Edmonton Oilers fans in the crowd? There were some of your parents here last night. I want them to know that this is being televised. I told you Edmonton would win. And I'm telling you now, they're going to win the cup. I don't watch much television because I find that 80.5% of all of it on there is garbage. And it is all garbage when the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing. Me and television don't really get along. I don't really turn it on too much. I found out that the best in the box is not CBC, it's the on-off button. See, television has taken the place of communication in our home. We don't talk no more because we're too busy letting somebody else do our talking for us. Ever tried to talk with mothers watching as the stomach turns on television? Really? There's a character on there by the name of Mac on one of them soap operas that has died 1,000 times from 1,000 different diseases, and he's still dying and waking up and going back to bed. On the day he dies for real, I'm going to go to where they bury him, and I'm going to go in there with a great big cement truck, and I'm putting 50 tons of cement in that sucker's face. He's going to stay down this time. But you see, the TV will get even with me. I'll come back and they'll run 5 years of reruns. And I'll see him dying all over again. You know? Total madness. What's your name, buddy? You have your arms full like you own the world. What's your name, buddy? Yeah. Lisa. I'm not Lisa. Jessica Colton sang that. You ever heard Jessica Colton's music? Fantastic. Fine to sing. She's Waylon Jennings' wife. Ever heard of Waylon Jennings? God help me. Anybody out there like old Willie Nelson? Yeah. Oh, wow. My type of people. How about Chris Christopherson? Well, we got a couple of brilliant people out there. John Prine. Every school does have a few bright students. When I was looking your way at the beginning, I thought you people were the dumb ones. Sorry, man. Okay? Really, right on. Before we go any farther, I'll be around probably in the fall. I do a tour in September with a band. If I can find one sober enough. And I might be out this way. I travel with about a 5-piece band doing concerts and auditoriums. Right now I travel with a couple of old boys that, because we're running late. One is from outer space, one is from inner space. I call them the Invisible Two. Give them a nice hand, please. Come on. Guarantee you one thing, if you can see 2 people on this stage, there's some good dope in this town. And I can understand you guys, you freaks being stoned, but your principal and your teachers all went. What are you old boys into, in snorting the old inkwell? Boy, that was a good batch of ink. Huh? So watch them teachers, they're sneaky. How you doing, my love? What grade you in? Champ? What are you a champ of? Well, if you carry something on your chest, you better be able to back it up. What are you the champion of? If you're not a champion of something, you're a false advertiser. You can be sued in today's class. Why not just say the champion of happiness, man? Then you get everybody fooled. Then maybe it'll catch on, everybody will want to be like you. See? Wish I had another microphone for my guitar, but I don't. Maybe it's better anyhow. People always say to me, you know, okay, there's a song I wrote about a young girl. A young girl, I said, I smoked one joint of marijuana. This is on a new album I got coming out. If you like it, tell all your friends. If you don't like it, shut your mouth. Song, right? Good writer, right? You like them lyrics? Well, she looked just like Christmas in the fireball of June. Her one proud possession was a bent silver spoon. Too old for Barbies, too young for boys. She was born on the 4th of July. Well, she screamed like an eagle, wounded in flight. The bright summer day was black as the night. He knelt down beside her and cried, "Why, baby, why? For today is the 4th of July. Daddy, oh daddy," she cried from her sleep, "be sure to put my new shoes on my feet. Burn 16 candles, light up my eyes. Today is the 4th of July." Well, the old preacher spoke, 'cause he knew all the words. He called out her name, she never heard. Questions and answers sometimes don't rhyme. She died on the 4th of July. Now listen up, children, to one who is wise. Don't look for life where cold bodies lie. And run from the pusher with fear eyes. And remember the 4th of July. Daddy, oh daddy, she cried from her sleep, be sure to put my new shoes on my feet. Burn 16 candles, light up my eyes. Remember 4th of July. Oh, please remember 4th of July. People always come up and ask me many questions, but one is always asking me, how do you write all those songs? I said, I don't really know, man. I just get a piece of paper, a pencil, I guess God does the rest. I don't know what it comes to. I know the other day going to St. John's, I wrote a full album on the way in on the bus. Just when it comes, I guess. I like riding on airplanes. I like flying. In fact, that's one of my hobbies, is flying. And I was up Labrador City not too long ago, and it always seems to me whenever I fly somewhere commercially, I always love to get a seat by the window, just over the wings. I like to watch everything operate. Flying to me is very, very beautiful. I always seem to get some dear little old lady who's never flown before, God bless her salt beef and cabbage heart. All her life she's never gone higher than the second floor. 11 steps up. And this day in Labrador I'm leaving, there's a little old one right beside me, our first time ever on an airplane. Now we talk off, that old 737 slammed off the runway like it was being chased. As we went up through the clouds, you got a little bump like that, started jumping back and forth. She got a little shook up and she went, ooh. She hung on to me like I was the anchor of life. I said, what's the matter, my love? She said, don't like flying. I said, nothing gonna happen. You don't be so foolish. Calmed her down, kept writing this song I'm going to sing next. Got into Goose Bay, not bad. But when we took off from Goose Bay, man, she was really bumpy. I said, my love, you get out there by the window and have a look around. She got up and she gone. Then all of a sudden, we had a little bit of turbulence in the wing. Tip started to move like that, eh? That's normal. She said, my God, the wing's moving, it's going to fall off. I said, no, my love, don't be so silly. I said, that's designed to be like that. If it didn't move, it would fall off. Boy, she really shook up. So finally, I calmed her down. I said, look, my love, I spent 25 years of my life a drunk, 12 of those years a drug addict. I've been to hell, and the good Lord straightened me out, and he didn't straighten me out and kill me in no stupid plane crash. So while I'm on board, you got nothing to worry about. She calmed down. We got Deer Lake. I had my song written. I'm getting off. I said, you have a good trip now, my love, but remember one thing. I'm getting off now, and you're in a lot of trouble. No, I didn't say that. I kidded her. She laughed. By that time, she was over her fear. Maybe she just grabbed somebody else's leg on the way up the other way. Maybe she wasn't scared at all. Maybe she just wanted to grab my leg. I never thought of that. How you doing, bud? Ski Team Squaw Valley. You like out there in Squaw Valley? See any Injuns? There's a man who stands above the entire universe. There's a man, and he loves us for the better and the worse. So don't you worry now about a world you'll never understand. There's one who'll understand. Believe me, there is a man. Go to sleep, my little one, and dream of dreams to come. Dream of running barefoot through the meadow and having fun. Don't worry if the world is cold and hard to understand. there's one who understands. Believe me, there is a man. There is a man, and he loves you far greater than I do. There is a man, and I do believe that man is coming soon. So don't you worry now about a world you'll never understand. There's one who'll understand. Believe me, there is a man. So go to sleep, my little one, dream of dreams to come. Dream of running barefoot through the meadow of each fun. Don't worry if the world is cold and hard to understand. There's one who'll understand. Believe me, there is a man. There is a man who stands above the entire universe. Tell you what, it's a great game. You make your own decision where you're going. I tell you from experience, you don't need it, okay? Don't allow anybody, no matter who they say they are, who they pretend to be, don't let nobody talk you into something you'll later regret. It's so easy to become an alcoholic. It's so easy to become a drug addict. It's so hard not to. This world needs you tomorrow. No matter how you cut it, they can talk of gold and oil and anything else on the face of this earth. The young people of this world are its greatest natural resources. That's you. Take it easy with your parents. They're not bad. They're pretty good. They love you. They're just as confused about the whole thing as you are. Go back and say hello to them. Be nice to them. Yelling gets nobody anywhere. I always leave my address with the principal. You ever want to write me a letter on anything, you write me. I'll answer, I promise you. It may take June, July, August to get back to you because I got letters ready to seal and I'm a lazy letter answer. It's really important if somebody's messed up and they want to really talk about drugs, I'll get out right away on it. But if it takes a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, I'll get to you, don't worry. I won't be Dear Abby. God knows we need no more like that. And I'll leave you with this thing that I always say to everybody, and I say it with no strings attached, no shame. I love you. But always remember, there's a God that loves you far greater than the likes of I or anybody else could ever. Thank you, gang.
My message is going to be very short. I'd like to they like that. On behalf of the PTA, I'd like to thank Lloyd Payne for coming out, speaking with you this morning. I'd like to also thank you for being a good audience. We'll stop now, we'll have a break, and you can go for recess. I think starting at the back, on this side of the gym, starting at the back, stand a grade at a time and move out of the gym quietly, please.